Greetings, my friend. This is Gilles Monsignor. I am called to come back and speak today. I'm going to discuss a few ideas, but I wanted to discuss briefly a little subject. It's just a perspective on something that I forgot to discuss in the English video in my last communication. It is about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is an energy vortex that is conceived as Puerto Rico, Miami, and Bermuda. And within this sphere, there is all kinds of magnetic disturbance. My father used to work for, he was a CPA, used to work for a company, an airline company, and the pilot was a UTA. The pilot always told him, when we fly over this zone, we always fly at a certain altitude because there is disturbance. Yet this vortex has been stabilized because the main reason for this vortex, there is a book that was written about it by William Shakespeare called The Tempest, and there's been many disparition of ships and planes, and so at the fall of Atlantis, there were certain sacred crystals that were saved, and one of them is the fire crystal, a huge fire crystal, and this fire crystal was placed near Bimini Island and was reactivated in 2012, and now the vortex has been somewhat stabilized. But I remember in the 90s, I lived in Miami, there was a lot of power and energy that was coming from these crystals. People go there and party out, but even for spiritual energies, like emotions are emphasized and spiritual energy is emphasized over there in South Florida because of the fire crystal. And the reason for the disturbance, for the great disturbance that would be there, it would be a good mission. I always thought in the 90s, I was thinking to envision the possibility of retrieving. There was a piece of technology that was in Atlantis. It was called the Chamber of the Masters. It was a round room with different doors, and the doors were programmed where you just pass through the door, you would end up at different time in different place. It was both transportation of sorts to different time and place. But when the continent fall, this whole temple became a random. It was completely it wasn't controlled, and so sometimes there was certain when you cross through it, you could be projected into a different timeline, different time zone, different place. And so it would be interesting to retrieve that and realign it. When, maybe not just yet, but it was the Arcturian revealed that it was about 45 miles north of Bimini Island. But the danger is, like, when you moved closer to this, you would have to, anyone with common sense, when they would need one approach this vortex, we would have to do it with advance, with great deal of guidance from the Pleiadian, Arcturian, Syrian alliance to be able to approach it and neutralize it. Otherwise, you might be pulled into the vortex and end up on a distant planet or at the time of the dinosaur. I'm sure this is supervised by spirit, but and no one is really lost. For nothing is lost in truth. Nothing. The truth can never be lost. We are eternal beings, and everything, if something is lost in the material world, it will be replaced by something else. It will be, it is the transmutability of the Creator that gives him his immutability. Also his eternal stillness is what makes him eternal, but his transmutability in time and space is really the power of transformation. And everything in the material world is always changing, so there is no holding on. There is just holding on to the truth and trusting the truth. And so understand also that every positive thought, every positive word, every positive action is really greatly contributing to this coming to the new frequency, this crystalline field. It's very much helping the collective ascension, even if we don't really know what is what the ins and outs of our actions. And once we test the joy of the higher frequency, once we test we want more of it. That's all we want. It's like, it's so amazing. This truth of God, this reality of God, this is so amazing. And so it's just we even want to be there permanently, but we are down here. The key is to understand that we need to integrate little by little this energy, so our physical, our mental, and our emotional body are being aligned and tuned to that frequency of crystalline of the crystalline field. And so, because also I wanted to mention, well, so that for the card. So the card of the day is happy circumstances. It's really much about unexpected good news, unexpected blessings that will be coming. I wanted to mention that a lot of things that I see on social media or in the informed cycle and all that is like the truth they're bringing forward is very, very, very different than what God reveals to me as the truth. But I've given up trying to push anything to reveal that truth. Because people will come to their own truth, will come to. For now, they are allowed to maintain a certain level of illusions. Because if you confront something with a truth that they're not willing to accept, it will create conflict and polemic and all kinds of things. So it's really important to believe in our beliefs. All our beliefs are serving us, but when something, a higher truth comes in, it disengage all of our belief. We have to accept the higher truth as the truth. And so I also wanted to I'm going to put a few cards before. I wanted to say that to rebound on what I talked about in my last message, is that I'm supporting Donald Trump. I do believe he's the next leader for America, and in what he says. And if my light, I try to send this light of the crystalline field, when Mel Gibson received it in a magnificent way, but Donald Trump, he turned around it. Some people told me, well, it's because he's a clone. This is not what I see. This is not what I know. For clones, I've sent light to people that are clones. The light just goes straight. There is no anchorage. There is no light. But he's working through his own process right now, and so he's not yet. His soul is not availing itself to that light, but yet he's doing a great work, and he will. And all those who are opposing the sound of freedom, the revelation of the pedophile, of the human trafficking, of all that, you wonder why are they positioning against that? It's like are they complicit or they're trying to defend something? But we want to put an end to any sort of human trafficking, women, children, people in general, drug trafficking, guns trafficking, all that needs to end. Every country has some negative groups that are pushing all kinds of things. I also wanted to felicitate the Saudi Arabia for joining the BRICS. I think it is good news, and eventually we're gonna see that great shift will come about to change this world. We have to trust in the Creator's plan, although it is beyond. When the truth comes too fast, it will completely destroy everything, and God does not want destroy everything. God is not about this. Sometimes it's about slow decomposition, and the truth can no longer be stopped. And the sound of freedom seems to be really, really doing well in America. So it is good news that people are awakening. For it is the dark truth that needs to come up and be released before before the light comes and the galactics and all of the higher knowledge and the higher truth of the universe is being presented. And so I'll put a few cards. The observer of the day's adventure. There will be new adventure. Hopefully this summer will be an adventure. There is new adventure. The delays are in the past. Where we had the delays in the future in the French video, I'd rather put the delays in the past. Honestly, right now we are the emperor, the rebel is breaking the chains, holding the light of truth. And in the future, we still have to confront a certain level of sorrow. For it is by confronting, addressing our wounds and our pains that we are able to heal them. Within ourselves, we have the guidance. In following the guidance is to trust in the wisdom of your soul, to trust in the wisdom of your Creator, to align, to allow your guides to assist you. And in the outside world is a conditioning. It's about deconditioning ourselves to become sovereign, not to be a sheep mind, and to move into the egregore of love, light, and unity and brotherhood, rather than all kinds of negative egregore they're still trying to create. And so for it is not about good and bad, dark and light. It's about finding the balance. Once you're lucid, take a few breaths. Every time we breathe, we have on the expiration breath, we connect to the 0 point, and we do 20,000 breaths a day. We have 20,000 opportunity to connect to the 0 point. Everything breathes. The universe breathes. For if it's because we are in expansion, in a breathing out of the universe, that we this Belgian joke about the Big Bang is because it's the expansion. But at some point, the expansion for 2 billion years it expands, then it stops, and then all kinds of ascension magic happen, and then there is a contraction, and the Creator brings everything back to himself, or self itself. So about the sorrow, the sorrow will bring completion, and there is a completion that will be coming very shortly. So do not avoid the pain. Just be attuned and still think positive. Still think in the deepest darkness. If you have the presence of mind to call on the light, to call on. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of the darkness, I shall fear no evil, because my Creator will assist me. It's like Dante as Virgil to go through the circles of hell. So there is always the presence of light, and sometimes we have to go through a certain darkness in order to decompose it. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I thank you very much for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Thank you very much for your donations. Right now, that's my only means of support. That will not always be the case. I'm working to really shift into a new reality, return to my life as an artist and an art dealer. So I'm going to finish with a song. It's a song that asks us to imagine. If we cannot imagine it, we cannot create it. So continue to cultivate a positive vision for yourself and for the earth. It's called Imagine. It goes like this. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh, 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 ooh. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Ooh, 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 ooh. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Thank you, John Lennon and Yoko Ono, for this beautiful song. For it is a bit utopic. For we have to go through step by step. It's like sometimes what would make sense on a general aspect, we have is the opposite that needs to be done in order to progress. For we are at the end of time, and at the end of time, the truth is the lie, and the dark is this George Orwell, the double talk in 1984. George Orwell explained the danger of if we can convince people that dark is light, that black is white, then they can believe anything. That freedom is strength, ignorance is freedom is strength, war is peace, and the third one, I'm not really sure what the third precept of 1984, but it's based upon this double talk to try to condition because those they understand that if they those who control the knowledge, the discourse, those who control the past control the present, and then they control the future. So in 1984, this wonderful book of George Orwell, the Ministry of Truth and Propaganda is always reconditioning the past to serve the agenda of this dictature. But we want to get rid of all that. But people need to be awakening little by little. It's very important. Right now, it's really snowballing. There's this huge wave of energy. There's going to be a big storm of truth that will be coming up. So remain calm, remain peaceful, remain loving, rather than being pulled into vortexes. And really, that's what the observer of the day is temperance. I mean, not to be extreme, not to be, to just be in balance. divine neutrality. The highest wisdom is abundance. We continue to call on abundance, to be ready to receive the abundance, the freedom that comes along with the abundance. What we need to understand is love. For you are love. We're not seeking love. We are love. It is our nature. The more we can know that, the more we'll be able to share, to give and receive love. What we need to do is joy. Find things that bring you joy and cultivate that. And the outcome will be compassion once we continue to be good to ourselves and do good to other people, to have compassion, to have understanding for what other people are going through. Everybody, like Plato says, everybody is going through a deep battle inside, and we have no clue of what anybody else is going through. We know that we are going through certain things. Sometimes we have to expurge all kinds of things and pass through all kinds of things, but we don't know what anybody else is going through. So just be kind. Well, thank you very much. Wish you a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. I don't know.